And joining us now is Zakk Wylde. How are you, brother?
Father Ed, what are you doing, Racker?
Did you get a chance to watch any of our Giants yesterday?
No, I was it was in the city, and I was in the room by myself fondling my genitalia. But I didn't. No, I was just cruising around the city yesterday. We were at 9/11. We went down to the memorial. So we were there, and then just cruising around the city. I was out here with Philly. It was getting ready to do press and everything like that. So
yeah.
What happened? The beloved G-Man went down, or what? What happened?
We're 0-1. Yeah, we're 0-1, and we lost. And look, they play again on Thursday.
You're just spotting other teams, man. You just got to spot them because you feel sorry for everybody else. That's the Giant way, bro.
And let me tell you something else.
That
Let me tell you something else that's pretty funny. Yesterday, I'm doing this medal award show in Middletown, New Jersey, and I'm at a table, right? And I'm talking and interviewing some people. Ross the Boss was there, Mark Weiss, some people we know, and they have to get rid of the table because they're about to turn the stage over and get ready for the show to start. And they couldn't find anybody to strike the gear in the table. And who appears out of nowhere and says, "I got this," but JD.
The Goose was there yesterday.
JD, your bass player. He appeared out of nowhere and was lucky. He goes, "I got this." Is he good like that, Zakk? Is he like in a pinch, good to do anything?
Yeah, he's good for knocking me out. You know what I mean? So he enjoys that thoroughly. But just insulting me profusely. But but that's great. The Goose was there. I forgot all about that. I think because Mark I just saw this thing that Mark was texting me. I guess you had the big Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing yesterday, right? For Mark?
It's a metal Hall of Fame thing, and Mark was part of it. Yeah, and Mark was showing his photos and all that. We had a good time there yesterday, but
that's great.
Yeah. So listen, man, speaking of press, you've got a record coming. The record's not till November, and you have a video and single
November 2025.
November what?
2025. Pushed it back just a little. We just want to make sure it's perfect.
But you put out a single and video. You put out a single and video for Set You Free, which I think the song is great, but the video is hysterical. Tell me about when you made that video and the concept for it.
I told Father Justin, he's the Stanley Kubrick of Black Label video directing, and I just said, Father Justin, what I want to capture here is my graduation prom in 1985 at Jackson Memorial High School. And I think he captured it perfectly, even with the arms getting ripped off the guy at the end and being beaten profusely. And the bath salts, the whole 9 yards. And we were dressed exactly like the band was that played at my prom.
It's seriously, though, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, anybody that's known you knows you got a great sense of humor about this sort of stuff and rarely take things too seriously. But I thought it was great. Do you have a sequel to that in the pipeline? Will there be subsequent storylines coming?
Yes, we'll continue making videos that are just as pathetic as that one, if that's what you're asking.
Why stop now?
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no turning back.
Tell me about making this record, Doom Crew Inc., when it came out. I imagine this was done in your home studio again, and was it a product of the pandemic? Were you planning on making a record? Were you locked down? You figured, let me go in and knock something out?
No, obviously being home for the pandemic, and obviously no one thought it was going to, last as long as it did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now that things are starting to get kind of back to a smidgen of reality where bands are starting to play again and everything like that. But no, just at the house, and it was just like, all right, we're going to do another record. It's just like, all right, give me about, what do we got? Like a month before the guys come out here. So I just do what I always do. I just go out into the Doom Crew Iron den out there. I'll go out in the gym. I got a practice amp out there, and I'll just sit and start fishing away until you get something you like. Like Father Merrin, when in The Exorcist, when he's out there excavating and he's looking for something, then he finds a Pazuzu head and all hell breaks loose. So you just hope you don't find a Pazuzu head, and then you'll be fine. But no, you're right, and you get something you're happy with, Then if you get nothing, you come out the next day and you start jamming again until you get something you like. And then, I just tracked everything and then the fellas came out. So like everything you hear on that record was already recorded before the guys came out. Did all the guitars and everything like that. So when the guys come out, Jeffy will listen to it and he'll be like, all right, what's this part right here? I'll go, why don't we wait? And then I'll do a vocal line. Then we all come in. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Let me listen to it. And then Jeff would just play air drums. Then he goes in there, plays the drums, comes out, listens. He goes, actually, let me fix this section right over here. And then he'll go in, play in that thing. Done. I mean, because it's kind of, and JD will do, the mongoose will work his magic. And then we put vocals on it. And then we mix it, box them up, and ship them out. But I mean, no, because it's completely different than back in the day when we were making the records with the boss. I mean, we'd literally be like rehearsing these songs like we're getting ready for a tour, which is, when I'm looking back on it now, I mean, it's just like, the songs, just play them. I mean, it's like when Sabbath was in the studio, I completely understand the two sides of the coin. If you're spending $3,000 a day back then in the studio, you want to make sure you know all the songs before you get in there so you could just knock them out and get it over with. So, because you're on the clock, you know what I mean? So I understand that. But like when you look at Sabbath, when they did on the Paranoid record, they recorded the record and they were like, we need one more song because we need X amount of time to fill out the record. And Tony was like, you got anything? And he was like, down, down, da, 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 da. And then they all kicked in. Ozzy sang the melody line. Geezer wrote the lyrics. Ozzy did the vocals. Done. No rehearsals, no nothing. Written on the spot. Done. So, so there is no right or wrong way to do it. You know what I mean? So it's, if you like going in the studio with nothing because you get inspired when you get in there, then that's what we go with. You know what I mean? But like, you could have written, let's say you wrote Knocking on Heaven's Door today when you were having coffee. I'm like, Ed, what was that? And you were like, oh, Zach, I was just noodling on this. I was like, oh, you ought to track that today. Next, you never know. You never know when you're going to get something. So, yeah. And then there's no right or wrong way of doing it. But I mean, the way we do it now, usually when I just write the whole thing in one shot. I don't write like have a piece laying here and get around to it later on or whatever, and I'll put this piece with that piece. I beginning to end, just one shot. That's how I always end up doing everything, whether it's Stillborn or Suicide Messiah or any of it. You know what I mean? So, and the same thing with the Oz stuff. I mean, it would just be, you got a riff or you Demon Alcohol, it's Miracle Man, whatever, you know what I mean? So, but, yeah, so I mean, that's how, but I mean, this way, the way we record it now is that stuff's all done. Everything on the record, like Set You Free. I tracked that whole thing before Jeff and JD came out. And now that everybody's got their studios and everything like that, because Dario has the Dark Chapel out there in Vegas, we just took that track and his solo parts. I said, Dario, solo in this section and this section, and then the end of the solo, we'll double it together. And then, Dario's got the tracks in his studio. He played it. I said, perfect. Great. So, and done.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because, I've known Dario a long time and I knew him, of course, before he was in BLS, and he's a great guitar player in his own right.
He's amazing.
So he's been in the band now for a while. So how
he does guitars, piano, vocals, dishes, laundry, and he makes an amazing chicken piccata. Amazing. No salt. So he uses only capers only.
Is there more of him on this record? Did you give him a little more,
man? Yeah, I guess we're doing a new cover of Guitar World. It's me and him. Like the Allman Brothers. Like you'd have Dickie and Dwayne on there, or it's more of a two guitar. Like you said, your beloved Thin Lizzy and everything like that. It's more of a Thin Lizzy, Allman Brothers, Judas Priest, where you need two guys because there's harmonies and things like that. So, I mean, because in the past, I mean, I need another, you'd need two guys because obviously when I'm at the piano, Dario's doing the solos. So, but now it's more so it's just an evolution because over time, even like certain solos like Stillborn or Suicide Messiah, I'd be going, Dario, just double this with me and we'll double this part or whatever, just getting them more in the mix and everything like that. So it's just an evolution. So now with the new record, he's pretty much on almost basically every song was, soloing like we did on the Set You Free thing.
What's it been like? You talk about having your studio, and this is probably, I guess, the third, fourth record you've made in the Black Vatican. So the way you write, where you can just go at it at any time, like maybe you got I would imagine like, hey, I got an idea at the dinner table. Hold on, you can run in there and you can do it. That's got to be nice having that flexibility, because you talk about how you used to do it with Ozzy. The meter's running, the clock's running. That's a lot of pressure. You got your own studio. You don't have that pressure anymore.
Yeah, but I don't record like like how we were saying, like with Prince and with Hendrix, Jimmy'd be recording all the time. He'd bringing his friends in and getting hammered and just writing and jamming all the time and stuff like that. Or Prince would be recording all the time. I don't work that way. I mean, even though I got the Vatican up there, like I don't know how to work. I'm not concerned with working Pro Tools or working the board or working the console. It's just I'll have Father Adam come out here and we'll track everything. But I'll just record it on my phone. If I get a song idea, I'll just, a riff that I like or whatever. And we're done like that. If I wrote something today, I'll just put it on my phone. So I have it. But no, as far as like, once we're done recording, I'm done. Once you get this burst of inspiration and it's just coming out and you just get it all out. Like when there's 12 songs on the record, but we recorded like 30 songs. There's like 30 recorded songs up there. I mean, mind you, they don't have vocal lines and lyrics and everything like that. But as far as the music, it's pretty much done. A whole bunch of other songs. So but maybe I'll revisit them later on and maybe use them, or once we get ready to do the next album in 2 years from now or whatever, then I think with any band or any artist, whether it's Neil Young or Zeppelin or Sabbath or Thin Lizzy or anything, I think like you get more excited about getting ready to do the new thing instead of looking back on old material. The only thing that made it on this record that was older that I haven't used was Love Rain Down, the piano song. But that earned the Farewell Ballad thing, that we ended the record with. Like Farewell Ballad, I ended up writing when I was writing the middle section of No More Tears back in 1990. So I had that song around, but that's been sitting in the can since then. So we finally ended up we did a heavy version of it on Stronger Than Death. But but the piano version of it is on the record now. But and the Farewell Ballad thing, I did that at one of the guitar magazines over in Europe. I remember I was just like, Zakk, can you put something together? And I had that, that whole intro and everything like that. So for the Farewell Ballad, but now it's a song, So it's got lyrics and everything like that.
So let's talk about the tour a little bit, because you're going to be going out and you've got a tour starting October 1st in Sacramento, running through November 28th, Albuquerque. And then there's a few additional dates at the end of December leading into New Year's Eve. You're going to go out with Prong. And then on the later shows, it looks like you've got Armored Saint. And then on the bulk of the tour, the bill is Obituary and Prong. So this is your first run in a while with BLS, right? Because you've been locked down for the most part too, right?
Yeah, we were down. The last show we did was at the Rave in Milwaukee with the Milwaukee chapter. And that was it. We just figured, with JD's, we were like, we'll be probably be home for 2 weeks, tops, 3 weeks, a month, whatever. And then we'll be back out on the road. And then here we are almost 2 years later. It's been now, 19, almost 20 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. Did you ever think, Zakk, I remember when you started BLS, I remember getting the first record, when it first, you made it. Did you ever envision this thing having the legs and turning into what it has? This started out of like, I remember, of course, Pride and Glory, you had that. That was a great record. I love that record still.
Yeah, we had a blast.
But then
we had a blast making that thing.
You did the BLS thing, and then I don't know, it seemed like, it's just kind of like maybe it's a one-off thing from Ozzy's guitar player or whatever. And now here we are, so many records in, you just put a big box set in out of the catalog, whatever record this is, 9th, 10th, 11th record, whatever. Did you ever envision this thing having this kind of longevity and turning into this movement almost that it is?
Well, I as far as envision seeing, playing music for a living, you know, I mean, making the band. That's what I tell all because I have so many of my friends that have either quit playing or stopped playing or whatever, that were phenomenal musicians or whatever. I'm just saying it's like Jimmy Page. You have to be all in. I mean, like Led Zeppelin is his entire life. I mean, that is his passion and his life. And you're either all in, and that's like make your band your job. Make your band your mom and pop shop, and then grow it from there. Like I just tell, you know, anybody asks, like, you know, Zakk, you got any advice for my kids or anything like that? I'm like, yeah, like you don't want to have some crummy day job that you can't stand. Why would you do that? You know, I mean, make your band your job. So like when I wake up in the morning, I look forward to what I'm going to do with Black Label. I mean, whether you're writing songs, and if you're not playing, then you're coming up with merch, you're coming up with art designs, you're coming up with whatever, you know what I mean? So it's just like, but everything revolves around music and the band. And that, cause that's your, you know, like you said, if we owned the Mets, you know, because obviously I'll mention the Mets because, you know, JD, I got to do that. But
and
you know,
me, and
actually,
we
JD,
won last night.
actually, JD,
and we won last night over your Yankees.
No, but he's the JD. This is the godfather of Sabatini. So, but he had to get him a little Yankee onesie. He goes, as his godfather, I couldn't give him a Met one. so, but
child abuse.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if we own, you know, the Yankees or the Mets or whatever. I mean, if we own, you know, Milwaukee Brewers, the whole thing is every day we're involved with everything down to getting trades, the farm system, down to the way the grass is cut in the stadium, whether we can get easier way to get into the stadium, the food in the stadium, the restaurants in the stadium, putting hotels in the stadium. I'm just saying, making it a living, breathing complex so that we have movie theaters in the place, bowling alleys. When there's no games being played, we have concerts there. There's just something going on in the stadium when there's no games being played. I'm just saying, like every day, me and you were involved with something going on with the franchise, the stadium, with that. I mean, so because first off, we love it and we enjoy it and it's our passion. So, you know, do that with the band. That's what I just always tell kids. I go, do you have any advice? Yeah. Make the band your day job. That's that.
Hey,
then you always look forward to going to work, except for JD, because he has to look at me. JD, that's where the saying comes, God, I hate this job.
Couple of quick things and I'll let you go. Do you think you'd ever, like, I know your focus is BLS now, but do you think you'd ever want to do anything with Pride and Glory again with Tishy and Lomenzo? Lomenzo just got the Megadeth gig again, but would you ever like to play with that trio again?
Yeah, he's jamming with Dave and the fellas, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing is you never say never to any of it. I mean, you know, between doing the Experience Hendrix stuff, Generation Axe, Zakk Sabbath, playing with the Boss, you know, Black Label. I love it all. I mean, because I love playing. So I mean, it's all win-win.
Are you going to do another Zakk Sabbath record? Are you going to maybe do Paranoid next?
Yeah, of course. Why not? We'll do as many as I can before my head explodes when we start getting into the higher registers. I remember telling Oz, I go, Oz, what were you eating your Wheaties? You know, when you were doing the Sabotage album? He goes, no, Zakk, just lots of drugs and a lot of alcohol. I guess that would be a form of carbohydrates. I guess you're on a high carb diet on that one. I guess, you know, for powerlifting, that's good.
For people that don't know, Zakk has an amazing Black Sabbath tribute called Zakk Sabbath, and you actually re-recorded the very first album.
It's not actually a tribute. A tribute band looks like him and does the whole thing. We're just an actual keg party cover band. That's what right. Zakk Sabbath is.
But it's killer, and you did a re-recording of the first Sabbath record. So if you were to keep doing that chronologically, you would do Paranoid next.
Yeah, I think we already have it in the can. Yeah, we got. I got to go in and do my the guitar stuff on it and stuff like that. Yeah, we have the second album ready to go, and then we'll start work. Yeah, do them all. You know what I mean? We just got to figure out, you know, because we got to transpose them, obviously, certain things so I could sing them. You know what I mean? the ones that, you got to fit to the voice. And see how high I can get up before my head explodes. You know what I mean?
Have any of the Sabbath guys
if you
heard
notice,
that?
the boss's voice from the first album just starts getting higher and higher. The register, I mean, by the time they got the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, like lights out. That's when it started. The vocals started getting higher, and then Sabotage, forget about it.
You told me, Zakk, you told me a funny story years ago about recording Thunder Underground when Ozzy was singing that, and the producer kept pushing him to go higher. Do you remember that story? Because then the Ozzy goes, "Yeah, I hope you like that because you're never going to hear it again."
You're never going to hear it again. I remember, like even with the live shows, I was just like, "Zakk, what songs would you like to put in the set?" I go, "Why don't we open the show up? What do you think? Maybe, I don't know, put Hole in the Sky in the set." And he goes, "You really want to kill me, don't you? You want to kill me. You don't like me, do you?" He's the best, man.
How's he doing, man? How's his health? When did you speak to him last? How's he doing health-wise?
Not that long
okay?
ago. I was, I'll still text Oz and everything like that, but just talking about all the, the insanity going on. But he's just like, I mean, we're supposed to be doing rehearsals in January, bro. So that's when Ozzy boot camp starts. So I just told Oz, keep doing your Kegel exercises and eating your protein. We got to get you back on the lifting platform for your bench squat and your deadlift totals. We got to bring them up again, back to Ozzy standards, so we can get back out on the road.
So that's encouraging news from a health standpoint, that you're still on track to go out and play in January and resume shows with him.
So, I mean, so hopefully, Oz is doing everything he can. I mean, last time we went over there and I saw him, he's like, "Zakk, I'm doing everything I can," because he wants to. I mean, we were having a blast on that tour. The tour was going great. And then the last thing we did was the New Year's Eve show with Rob Zombie and everybody, so it was just like, and because Oz was talking and Mom was saying that, like, maybe we'll do it every year. You know what I mean? Like a New Year's Eve show. Cause at the point it was a great turnout, and, outside we did the Zakk Sabbath thing. Devil Driver was on, everybody was on that thing. So it was a great day all around. So, that's why Oz was like, "Oh, maybe we'll do it every year." You know what I mean? I was just like, "Yeah, why not?" I mean, if everybody had a great time, do it every year. Why not? So, I mean, that's how it ended. You know what I mean? That was the last gig we did, was that New Year's Eve show before Oz hurt himself.
One last thing on Ozzy, as you probably know, the No More Tears record is 30 years old, and there's a special edition coming out. And today they released a version of Hellraiser with Ozzy and Lemmy duetting on it. Have you been involved at all in the reissue? And what do you remember about doing the No More Tears record?
We had a blast. I mean, it was definitely a different atmosphere than the first one. I mean, than doing No Rest. I mean, because I was, 19, 20 years old when we were recording that one. So it was kind of like, let's see if he can do it. Can he write? And what's going to happen? So you had that kind of pressure on it. And me, I always viewed being an Ozzy guitar player as playing for the New York Yankees. You know what I mean? I always say it's the house that Rhodes built instead of the house that Ruth built. It's just like, Oz is the owner of the franchise, and you got Babe Ruth, and then it's all the players are expected after Babe Ruth. You're expected to win world championships. I mean, and certain things are expected out of you as a Yankee when you become a Yankee. So when you put the pinstripes on, so I've always viewed it as that. So, it was my first year, my rookie year, but the second, but mind you, every album we've done though, it was hilarious. I mean, we always had a blast. I've always said, being with Ozzy, it's a miracle any work ever gets done, because everyone's cracking up all the time. So, but the first album after we did that one, the second one was more of a relaxed vibe and everything like that, but still the same thing. I mean, it was just a comedy fest, but we had a great time making that record. And, Michael, when we did the first one with Keith Olsen and everything, Keith was amazing, and, took me aside and helped me get my guitar tone and everything like that. And God bless us all. Always love Keith for that. So, and then, working with, John and Dwayne, and same thing with John. God bless him, man. John's gone, and it's just John and Dwayne, and then Michael Wagner mixing it. And he's awesome. So, I heard it on the radio a couple of days ago, and I was like, wow, it still sounds great. So,
Yeah.
It came out really good. But yeah, I think that was just the difference. I mean, No More Tears was a bit more relaxed, and my love for the Allman Brothers and Skinner and everything like that, and Marshall Tucker and Blackfoot and everything, the Southern stuff, like, the intro to No More Tears, well, all that stuff is, like Freebird kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I had that in there. Then, like, I Don't Want to Change the World. I remember when we were doing that, the country licks in there and stuff like that, just peppering them in and, seeing how much of it I can get away with. So within that context of what we were doing. But I remember, like, a certain rip, like I Don't Want to Change the World, just writing it as a goof. I mean, we were at Joe's Garage where Frank Zappa owned the rehearsal joint, and we're in there and I'm going, dan, chicka, dan. And we're talking about, I was doing a riff and stopping, and we were just saying, like, whatever you could do, how not to pick up a chick. You know what I mean? And it was just like, we were on the floor crying, laughing. It'll be dan, chicka, dan, chicka, dan, 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 chicka, dan, dan. I live at home with my parents and I don't have a job. Dan, chicka, dan, chicka. I mean, it's just like, how you're never going to get a date, right? So it was just like, I live at my home with my parents, but I only have gonorrhea and syphilis, but I don't have lice. You know what I mean? Just like in between these song takes. So we'd all be we were just like crying, laughing. And all of a sudden Ozzy comes walking in. He's like, what's that you're playing? I go, Ozzy, it's just a goof. I mean, what are you talking about? This thing? It's ridiculous. And he just goes, we're going to use that. And all I remember is next thing you know, we're winning a Grammy for that song. So it's always good. Take Ozzy to Vegas with you, whatever you do. You know what I mean? Without a doubt.
Well, man, the last thing that just hit me, you got all these amazing stories. Would you like to do another book at some point? I know you did one. Would you like to do another one?
Yeah. How hard is it? All you got to do is live, and what you have to do is wake up and be in the music business. There's another book right there.
Just have somebody transcribe your life. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. You don't need ghostwriters for this stuff. Just live and breathe. As long as you wake up, you've got another book in you. For sure.
And how's the
go ahead, bro.
How's the audio? How's the line of gear? How's Wylde Audio going? How's all the gear, guitars, everything going on?
Got a couple new models coming out right now. Well, we got the Heathen coming out. We're gonna have got a bunch of them coming out right now. The Raven, I mean not the Raven, the Raider, the Condor, and the Vulture. Those are coming out next. So we're just making those protos right now, and the Thorax. I got some pictures of that one that's being made right now. So yeah, we got a couple more coming out. Well, four new models coming out. So it's
nice,
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great, man. I love it.
So the real release date for the album is November what? Doom Crew Inc.
November 26th, Black Friday. Like the album, None More Black. Everything's got to be circled around that. Yeah, so we got Black Friday. And people will be like, what day is Black Friday? I have no idea.
The day after Thanksgiving.
Exactly, I guess, what is it? November, September, October, I guess November 26th.
Yeah, but if you just say that, having worked in a mall when I was a kid for so long, Black Friday is notoriously the biggest shopping day of the year, and it's the day after Thanksgiving. So everybody can rush out and buy the new BLS record. It's easy to remember that date.
Yeah, or if you need some coasters right after Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? Some beer coasters or anything. You got it right there.
You want a big coaster, you get the vinyl. You want a small coaster, you get the CD.
Yeah, well, you get the vinyl, and then it's a cheese platter. You see what I'm saying? There you go.
Hey, man, I hope to see you soon. Everybody check out BLS, going out on tour, kicking off October 1st. It'll be good to have them back out there destroying on stage again. And the new album, as you just heard, coming on Black Friday. Good to see you, bro. Hopefully we'll be able to hang in person soon.
Yeah, without a doubt, Father Ed. Always great talking to you, buddy.
जान पियावा घर जाई के प्यार में तो हरे है प्यार में तो हरे हमहु मारब जहर खाई के भूल ना जई जान पियावा घर जाई के भूल ना जई जान पियावा घर जाई के कैसे भूल पैगो जान